to speak up. Support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up. Support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up. Support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up. Support the ones who do. Vampires, they prey on your fears, tell them to stay away. Vampires, they prey on your fears, control your atmosphere. Don't let them take your energy. Don't let them suck control your atmosphere. Distraction away from me. I am you and control your atmosphere. Don't let them take your energy. Don't let them suck your energy. It's a distraction away from me. I am you and you are me. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Nobody but yourself. Don't follow. I said nobody but yourself. Don't follow. Nobody but yourself. Don't follow yourself. Nobody yourself. Nobody but yourself.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. I know we said we were going to be live on Tuesdays, then we weren't. But specifically this week, it was a special week. We had the election. Bum, bum, bum. And, oh boy, the results are in and the map was red. What's going on, Marie?
Well, it's interesting how the results are in. Everyone's in panic. Hold on one second. Hey. All right. Sorry. Sorry, my kid came home. So I think the results are in. I feel like everyone's like concerned if they should be in panic or how everyone should feel about that. Everyone's just like it's like a mixed bag, mixed emotions.
I guess the minis just say across the board, they're just.
I don't know. I spent a lot of time arguing with a lot of Democrats, I think, yesterday, and not even arguing, but like even just their perception of things, where it's like, but no, like people are talking about all these different things that are up for grabs. Where it's like my women's rights, this, that, or even too. Well, you think he's not going to level out Gaza? I actually heard that multiple times. I heard multiple times that Trump is going to level out Gaza, and that But I'm like, you guys keep saying this like I voted for Trump when I actually voted for Jill Stein. I actually wasn't. If I'm saying I don't like this and I don't like that, I decided to go a different route. Which so many Americans are always talking about how they don't, they don't trust either party, but then they still go for one of the two they don't trust, I guess.
Absolutely. That is the conversation that I had yesterday. A lot of people saying that they don't like the Democrats or Republicans, but how could we end up here? And I can't help but tell them that they had a hand in this when they say that they don't rock with either side, but then they choose a side, it sounds like you rock with that side because there are third parties. There are other people out here that were competitive. Um, I think that if all of the people who said that, well, voting for the third party, that's a throwaway vote, if those people actually did vote third party, it would actually be a viable option. But we haven't quite made it there just yet. So what do we do? A lot of crashing out. And is it weird for you that people were so comfortable recording their crash outs, or did you see it like as attention-seeking behavior?
So to be honest with you, I was fortunate enough to not watch any of that. I did see some things. I've seen some posts on there. I've seen some people comment, oh, like, like, well, now this or now that. Well, now we're not. I'm like, but I was fortunate enough that, I mean, I think too, it's all about your following. So yes, I did get kind of cussed out, or I had people making some comments to me on my account, but nothing. I didn't see anyone like really, go. I got to read it. Which even too, I'm like, and the funny part is I'm not a neoliberal, but I can be. Like, if we're really gonna go there, I'm gonna be fine. Sally or Annie, because Annie was arguing with me yesterday, and I'm just like, Annie from Oregon.
Oh.
Like, I'm like, I can be a pretentious bitch, and I want you to know, I do know that my state's GDP is way higher than yours. I've lived there too. It's a very how do I want to say this? I had never seen poor whites. That was my first experience with poor whites, as being in Oregon. Outside of the fact that, I have been into the rural South working, traveling for business, which that was my next experience. However, I was like, oh, really? So Annie was like, good luck in Texas. And I'm just like, huh. She's like, and they asked for it. She's just seen them too. And I was like, well, for me, it was a ceasefire. Well, they asked for a ceasefire. You can't ask for a ceasefire and then send the gun. Like, you can't send bunker bombs and then tell me you're asking for a ceasefire. By the way, my Facebook is not working. So there's that.
There's that. You guys, especially you guys who do the effort to catch the playback, we appreciate you, because they don't make it easy for us to have an hour-long conversation about things.
It was like they knew or something tonight. They're like, yeah, y'all not finna do that. Not here.
Not here. Not today. And that's okay, because, as it is live and recorded, the option for people to catch us on the replay is there, unless they take it down, because that's happened too. But let's get to this clip, because people like to talk a lot about how they feel. And remember, when we first started this journey, we talked about how a lot of these disagreements that turn into these really nasty arguments are all because of some miscommunication at some point. And you and I have both had the same luxury of people misunderstanding our non-support of the Democratic Party as support for the Republican Party.
Absolutely.
Like, wait a minute, pause. Let's rewind that. Where did you get that? I'm not a Trumper. You're not a Trumper. We've never said that at all in any form or fashion. But we're here in a time and space where if you didn't vote for the brown woman who may or may not wash her greens in the tub, sticking to it, the fact that she just says shit, I don't think she really cooks greens either. But, if we didn't vote for her, say again?
They don't give me Greens family vibe.
No, I saw a little interview with Dougie, and he was talking about how she taught him to cook, but then the things that he were listing were very basic, like baked chicken, baked salmon, throw it in the oven type foods. I don't know that Kamala's cooking.
Maybe she taught him to season.
Maybe.
There's that. Maybe, I'm like, Indians do be seasoning.
I know they do.
With some black folks, really be seasoning.
I like curry. I think it's so funny how people try to veer away from their ethnic cuisine, but then a lot of times our exposure to these different people is through their food, you know? So, you know, sometimes we won't even frequent a place that looks strange because it's not clean, not because the food wasn't good, but because it's like, oh, okay, it doesn't look like you wore any gloves at any point.
Which I don't know. It seems like people don't mind freaking Waffle House, and I promise you, those people it looks like there's roaches in there, and it looks like someone's smoking a Newport back there.
Oh yeah.
But then people say that adds the flavor. They're like, yeah, yeah. I'm like, yeah, no.
Levels to the tomfoolery. That's funny. And you're right. I've seen the memes. They say if the Waffle House cook does not look like he did about 5 different life sentences, then you don't want to eat there. And I'm like, well, I think I like to go to a place where my elbows aren't sticking to the table or anything sticks to the table. You know, I like clean. I don't know if that changes how the food.
Like, I like that sometimes. I like when stuff is clean, you know,
just basics. Right?
I like that sort of thing.
Moving right along, because America turned the page, right? And I don't know if it was with you or with Dr. Winters on my other show, but I asked if we could get an example of like turning a page, like you turn a page.
Legitimately turn the corner, turn the page.
And people act like we can't turn the page back. I'm glad we're turning pages and maybe revisiting things, because this is Trump. And if you guys have a timestamp for when this was said, that would be cool. But if you guys could focus on what he's saying, that would be more interesting.
We killed hundreds of thousands of people in the Middle East. It's been I always say it's the bloodiest sand anywhere in the world. And it didn't have to be that way. The single worst decision our country ever made was to go into the Middle East. Not only the millions of people killed, and I include people on both sides. Some people say, oh, you shouldn't say that. I said, I'll say it on both sides. Such a horrible thing was done. Such a horrible mistake was made. We're doing this a different way.
So, I mean, that's during his presidency at some point, right? But it sounds like, well, to me, and I think to you, it was sounding like accountability. Not that he was active in this, the bloodiest sand, but that he was taking responsibility for doing something about it, right? And that's what I find is missing from Kamala's argument for becoming president. There was a lot of people who were very hesitant to say that they were voting for her as much as they really wanted to say that they didn't like him. And they didn't want to say that they were voting for her because they couldn't give you anything of substance for why.
But I mean, in essence, everyone kept saying that, or even she kept saying she really couldn't give you substance, right? She said that she's not Trump. That's really her biggest platform, is I'm not Trump. Mm-hmm. She did want to give us a lethal military, which, to be honest with you, I think a lot of Americans are tired of the Pentagon having this endless budget, having a blank check, and not passing any audits. I think we're all tired of us continuously seeing this budget increase for whether it's the Pentagon, the CIA, the military sector. We keep seeing a budget increase, but it's simultaneously there's no accountability for that budget. You're telling me that somehow you misplaced $15 billion. You don't know where it went. You've lost this jet. Are you fucking? Are you laundering money? Are you laundering money?
They don't want.
I think that Americans are, like, to some degree, Americans are looking for accountability. Even too, it's like, to some degree, the Biden administration, he did slightly inherit some of the economy from the Trump era and from COVID, everything that happened. And to some degree, it was kind of a ricochet effect, right? So if you kind of give away a bunch of money, then, let's pretend like we're not going to act like that companies were not, overcharging and price gouging, because they absolutely were. So we're not going to pretend like that didn't exist. However, it's kind of like a chain reaction. So if there's a bunch of money, if you spent a bunch of money or gave a bunch of money away, then to some degree we're going to see some sort of inflation, right? So the issue too with Biden Harris is there were a lot of things that were in place during the COVID era. The issue with them was that, one, we still aren't out of the woods with that, and people are actually being impacted financially, economically right now, and they allowed some of those programs that were in place to expire. Just like even too, some of those food regulations that were rolled back under Trump's administration, they didn't put back in place when they got into office, which is why you're seeing all this stuff with the meat industry and cured meat and stuff like that. So it's like, the thing about it is like, they would love to be like, but Trump did this, Trump did that, but you didn't fix it. You didn't lift the fucking finger to fix it.
It's, well, when I hear turn the page and then things like what you just talked about, it seems like there's no help coming, but there's a lot of courting going on, right? A lot of, I'm paying attention to you and I'm going to do these things for you, but first you got to do something for me. And what a time to ask somebody for anything when you have the opportunity to do things. I had one conversation with a woman, and she was talking about how if she had just done anything, she could have gotten the vote of a lot of the people that she knows. And I kind of might feel like maybe they did vote for her anyway. My state is blue. You can see it right there on the map. As red as my state is, it's very blue where the money is. Where the money resides, it's blue. So it's strange these times where you can have red thoughts and blue actions, but two wings, same bird. I think that's a really good representation of that argument. People keep saying that you had to pick the lesser of two evils.
But imagine too, like, so here's the thing. Imagine the person, like, so that's the weird part, right? So here's the funny part. A lot of the things that Americans value, even we're going to talk about the Green Party. The Green Party actually serves to, they want to do those things. Even the reparations, Black folks saying they want, the reproductive rights, the education, etc. Like, they actually want to do that.
Yes.
But instead, everyone still just went out and did what they've always done. So truth be told, I feel like everyone lost the vote for us with the third party, because you just went out and voted because it's either one of them. Well, it's either one of them because you keep voting for one of them.
Exactly.
You keep choosing them. And so this is what we keep getting. And even the idea of it's the lesser of two evils, I think that the problem is like, we're always in that boat. So there has to be something like, so what are you doing as a citizen that you always find yourself in that boat? And what are you doing to prevent yourself from being in that boat really is probably a better question, right? What are you doing to prevent yourself from being in a position where you're always having to choose the lesser of two evils, which really is an oxymoron, or it's asinine, right? Because I don't necessarily, the problem too is like politicians, like career politicians, they're just that, career politician. So you're going to be limited, and to some degree she actually is a career politician. She actually has a lot of the things that would make her, I guess, technically a good candidate. But I think we have to talk about the role in general, right? Because the problem is the role of the empire. You have to be diabolical to operate this empire. That's the catch, right? So and then what are we doing to roll that back or to change that narrative as Americans, right? Because it's like, even if we sat here and all these people, they're like so upset these people voted for Trump, he's racist, he's that. You sat here for a whole fucking year watching babies' heads blown off, buildings, people torn into shreds, shrapnel, all the, literally, you watched a Holocaust in real fucking time, but you overlooked that. So you think they can't overlook nigger? They can't overlook racism? They can't blatant racism? You think they can't overlook rogue white people? You think they can't overlook racism, sexism? Like, again, you literally watched in real time from your cell phone in your hand. And then you had someone that says that this is what we're going to do. Like, we have to unconditionally support. Then they sent them bunker bombs. They literally were blowing up schools, hospitals, this, that, and you're like, but you voted for Trump. You have no moral compass. Shit. Well, what do you have?
That part. And I think they have a bunch of air. The people who know what's going on, they want to redirect your focus to the fact that she's not the orange boogeyman. But to your point, this is out of the horse's mouth or the camel's mouth. Let me stop.
Be the biggest specific difference between your presidency and a Biden presidency?
Well, we're obviously two different people, and we have a lot of shared life experiences. For example, the way we feel about our family and our parents and so on. But we're also different people, and I will bring those sensibilities to how I lead. For example, I know we're going to talk today, but one of the issues that I'm very focused on is what we do around home health care.
Yes.
I have done a lot of work as it relates to, sadly, but violence against women and children. I care a lot about that. I love our small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me predominantly, but we had what we called a second mother who lived 2 houses down, who helped my mother raise us. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. And so the influence of a personal experience will have its impact on the presidency.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of,
And that, ladies and gentlemen, might have been when she lost the damn election. Because you cannot sit here and tell people who are going through the shits. I mean, literally, people are back to trench times and hot dogs and pork and bean style. The cost of food and gas is crazy. Not saying that there isn't a reason for the increase of things, but to say that you wouldn't do anything different, you can't. Nothing comes to mind.
And I think what it was is like her fear of separating herself, which I don't know, like to some degree you have to like, who are you as a person? What do you stand by? What would you do differently? I think with her, it's like she wanted to maintain that voter base that already came from Biden. But the thing is, I think that she underestimated the fact that there are so many dissatisfied Americans under the Biden administration. That was the mistake that was made. The fact that, and even too, it almost seems like this past year or two, we haven't even had a president. He doesn't even know what room he's in from time to time. So to me, there was ample opportunity to separate herself. But I almost feel like maybe her advisors or her constituents told her otherwise, or it was because even too, it's like you're with him right now, but there has to be something where even too, you kind of garner favor with other people saying, hey, I didn't like the way he did this, or going back to, I'm going to go ahead and make sure we renew these COVID era subsidies or things like that. Because again, people are still dealing with COVID. We're still dealing, and in fact, it almost seems like that we've gotten to the point where now we just want people to work with COVID. Like, look, I know you dying, but you need to be back and work in 5 days. Fuck the 14-day quarantine. We're not quarantining no 14 days. Or you got to get back to work, Bob. We need you. Don't know what to tell you. I mean, too, like, I think that, and even too, she didn't stand on her own policies, or she deviated from her own stuff. Like, how are you a Democrat and you're supposed to be somewhat, I guess, liberal, and you're talking about fracking because you want a group of motherfuckers in Philadelphia to feel like they're not going to lose their job when we do need to move towards another energy source. And fracking, we already know that it's scientifically proven is fucking terrible for the environment. And we're already dealing with environmental crisis at this moment. Like everything that's happening, most people, like some people are saying it's man-made. To some degree, it is man-made. It's man-made because time after time, the buildup of all the decisions that we've made has led us here. That's how it's man-made. It's the choices that we've made. And yes, there were things that occurred before we all started inhabiting this earth. But I promise you, like, there were people that you called primitive that lived here just fine. Survived. There was no problems. Even when we look at what's going on right now in Palestine, it's an ecocide. And in fact, they've actually dropped more bombs on them than the total combined when when that nuke was dropped on Hiroshima. So you have to wonder too, what type of disaster or what's going to occur? What are we going to get from that? Or even until you see these hurricanes been back to back lately. So these decisions that we're making, the things that we're accepting, the destruction to the earth, like we're almost indirectly waging war on ourselves without even we're not going to be here for long. But there were people that lived off the land who we called primitive that lived there thousands of years. And we're not even sure we got another 100 around here. We're trying to go to another planet to go fuck that one up too.
Amen to that. And that's definitely what you see when these people are in control of the resources, land, etc. You talked about how Kamala's handlers probably told her that she doesn't want to separate herself too much. But like you said, also, who are you? Like, y'all are different people. What are we going to be expecting from you? Do you have anything? And I was doing a little bit of reading, and it was about how a weak person will take on the identity of the people around them to fit in. And, I guess it's fitting that I've seen her be called chameleon. She kind of will do whatever needs to be done. You've said that would actually make her a good president because it is,
it would
a puppet.
It would absolutely make her a good president, but I don't necessarily know if that's what people are like. That's the thing, though. So it's like what we understand the characteristics necessary in order to, I guess, please the empire. That's not necessarily what the voters thinking about, because even too, in all actuality, we're also saying that there's some deception there. But oh yeah, actually, you'd be really great. Yeah, you're a liar. Oh, yes, you will get the job. How well can you lie? Can you lie quickly?
Yeah, well,
okay. How do you feel about murder?
You're good with it?
A little espionage. Okay,
war crime.
Oh, okay. Do you pray? Are you a Christian? We love a Christian. Yes. So
a Christian war criminal.
Pedophilia. You're kind of okay with it? That'll work. Have you been to Israel? Did you touch the wall?
Not that you touched the wall. Marie, she hadn't even gone to the border for years after being the person in charge of the border. I was watching I think it was a Senate hearing, and one of the border agents was saying, there were months where there was nobody at the wall. So who knows how many people came over and where all they went, because it was just an open border. To think that you are not able to think on the fly, that's scary, because be scripted. So I kind of get why even the powers that be tried to rape us with her again. They gave her to us the first time. We said no. Okay, they really want her because of her ability to say yes and do the things and not have.
She would definitely do the things,
right? But then from there, it's like shit. If we have a technical difficulty, are you gonna fuck up and say something that you don't need to say? I mean, shit. Joe Biden was saying.
Didn't she make that mistake too about the when she shared their plan with about the Middle East, and then they had to remove it from the recording?
So she's already had the.
They're like, God damn it, you're foiling our plot. We don't want them to know that Israel's actually carrying out the things we want them to do, because we want to make it seem like it's that bad guy Bibi. Like we asked them to stop. But yes, we did send your bombs are on the way. In fact, we're going to send some personnel over there for reinforcements. But yes, please do a ceasefire. Yes, the fighter jet is there. Yeah. The Apache helicopter. Yes. but we would love a ceasefire. Like it's so terrible what's happening to those Palestinians. But on October 7th, we'll never forget. It's the worst day of our lives to see babies' heads cut off. Never mind the fact that we've already debunked that information. We're going to continue to spew the same fucking talking points because we know you're fucking idiots.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the other thing. The American people, you guys, we are all tired of being talked down to. When Obama came out with his wrinkled suit and his hands in his pockets and talked to those men like they were children, and then had the nerve to say, if Michelle were here, like, hold up, sir, let's reel it in a notch because, honestly, the men look like, are we having a man-to-man conversation? And then you calling your bitch, like, no offense, I'm not calling her a bitch in this instance. I'm just saying, like, how is this your reinforcements, or is this really all you have to give us? You didn't do shit for us for 8 years.
You're not even in community with us. And I says, don't you live in Martha's Vineyard? We're not sure. We don't fuck with us like that. You don't fuck with us. Like, you made a Spotify playlist. You're wealthy now too. Like, you're actually fucking with the Epsteins of the world. Those are your friends. P. Diddy and them.
Yeah.
You're not in community with African Americans. But see, here's the thing, though, too, is that there's been this acceptable thing where because I'm Black and you Black, you think you can talk to me like I'm a motherfucking child.
Yeah, any kind of way.
We're not. So, like, we're not friends. Even, too, if you're telling me that you're going for a role as a president or even a job or whatever it is, you can't talk to me like that. Like, I don't, like, I'm not, like, and the thing is, and honestly, I will say, a lot of decorum is missing. Like, you think because I'm Black and you Black that you just gonna show your ass like that? Like, you wouldn't talk to a white person like that.
Let's talk about that. The decorum. They say and said and have been saying that the Orange Man, the decorum left the White House when the American people voted for Trump the first time. So clearly they don't think that there's any decorum left because he's been voted for again. I'm trying to figure out at what point did anybody ever think that the president's top 50 playlist had anything to do with anything other than,
because they made him an icon. They evangelized him, which actually is problematic because it made it hard for you to critique him. When you put someone on a pedestal that's actually supposed to be a public servant, their job is to serve the people. But if you have decided that this person is higher than all, holier than thou, he's the savior, he's this, it's like, now you've actually made this shit really difficult. You've made it difficult for him to do what he's supposed to do in his job for you. You've made it hard for him to work for you. Because now, too, if you say something to him, it's like, how dare you say that to him? Do you know who the fuck I am? I don't give a fuck who you are, motherfucker. I'm your employer.
That part. Yeah, he's got pretty privilege, right? That's what that is. Obama's walking around with pretty privilege.
Oh, he has that. He's a token nigga. So there's this thing where, okay, so the irony about Black, like corporate America and Black men. So sometimes it's not the most welcoming place for them. They can be seen as a threat, but then every now and then there's this cool ass nigga that the women love, the men want to be like, and they're like, oh yeah, let's play ball on the weekends. And they think everything he says is cool and shit. And they really don't know any better because they really haven't been exposed to any other Black folks. They just know this one real cool, and he played basketball, and he know all the sports, and he had a fantasy football team, and y'all went to some games during March Madness or whatever it was, and he can talk. Like there's always going to be a few of those, and they get treated so well, but even too, they're not held accountable because they're so likable. It's just so cool. It's so cool. Whole time Mark ain't did shit in 2 weeks.
Hey, and then the company, the group, the team has to eat his lack of productivity. And that's really what you see and saw when Obama, crawled out of the cave that he had been hiding in for the past 3 years, because really, where have you been? Oh no, you come out.
Like, have you been doing the footwork? Have you been doing grassroots? Like, what have you been doing? Have you been influencing legislation? And here's the thing. So I'm not going to pretend like that. So I'll say this. Obama isn't different than his predecessor. So let's be very clear. He didn't, and in fact, he did the empire's job very well. The empire's job really isn't the way the empire set up. It's really your job is really to serve them. I don't know if you know that, but it's kind of this weird thing where they act like it's about you, but it's really not. Even capitalism isn't about the actual people, because actually they're the labor. It's the people at the top of capitalism. Like, they're the ones everyone else is really serving. It's like a fucking pyramid scheme. So really, I need all you workers, and I need you in these positions, these lower positions. I need masses of you in lower positions so you can hold the rest of us up, because it wouldn't work without you, without your goofy ass. It would not work. I need you. I need all of you here, which even goes back to why I also need y'all to not be able to have, you need to be able to have these kids you can't take care of, especially in these southern states. Yes, no, you cannot get an abortion. No, Bobby Jean, I need you to have 6 kids that can get incarcerated because they have a low literacy rate, because they came from a lower socioeconomic background. So they're more inclined to end up in prison. And now I can have them work for Target and all these other places that didn't think they were hireable, but they can go work from now as prison labor for like 17 cents though.
That part.
Okay.
I've seen some very staggering data about the private penal system. We might have to go into that one night, but I don't know if you saw this the other night. I didn't see it in real time, but I got a tickle out of this. I think you will too.
So you asked, are there any places that the vice president is overperforming Joe Biden in 2020? So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out here. Harris overperforming in 2020.
Holy smokes.
There you go. So let this go away and see if there's anything on the east side there.
Literally nothing?
Literally nothing.
Literally not one county?
So you asked, are there any places that the vice president is
Literally
overperforming
nothing.
Joe Biden in 2020? So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out.
And that's the thing, in 2020, when the Democrats said, "Hey, we got this lady. She's got all these skills. She's been in these different branches of your government. She's pretty. She's married, so she's straight. She checks all these boxes, right?" And then the American people said, "No, we're good. But thanks, you can try again." And then they said, "Joe, you're not running again because you don't even know where you are.
You didn't even know if you're president. Like, he asked who the president was. It's you, motherfucker. It's you.
It's you, buddy." Saturday Night Live has been one of my favorite shows that I love to hate, because sometimes it's just not funny. But Maya Rudolph has been very good as Kamala, and the guy that they have doing Joe has been splitting my sides, you guys. Real knee slappers.
Like, splitting my sides.
I just it's so funny how these different entities will push whatever narrative suits them at the time. And I think once people realize that they don't really have any friends in media, that's when they started looking elsewhere. Did you see the story that said that most people are not getting their news from the news? They're getting it from YouTubers and, content creators.
Yeah.
And, it's, people say, well, that's just, you can't just trust everything on the internet. And it's like, when I saw all of the different news outlets side by side and they were all saying the same thing, I said, yeah, that might be something I can't trust, because they're saying that they don't like those people over there, but they have the same script. So do they work for the same people? Like, so, is this just a...
So let's be honest, and I'm going to say this, and I've always felt this way, and I've never meant it in an anti-Semitic way. But the Jews control the media. And when I say I've never mentioned it, I feel like they control the media because due to historically, Gentiles did not get involved in like show business, Broadway, music, television. It actually was shunned. It was like looked down upon. Even going to a movie was kind of frowned. Like, you went to a movie, like, from other people. And so this was an opportunity but basically it was like an open window, like a free canvas, because no one was doing it. They had access, they had opportunity. So this was an opportunity for Jews to corner a market and excel at something. And I don't mean that in but it just happened that way. It is what the fuck it is. Like, it just happened that way because they weren't afraid. They didn't look at it as satanic or secular or demonic or anything like that, because Gentiles will have that kind of thought. Like, no, that's like, because even too, acting, you don't know what kind of role you might be put into, what you may have to do, how you have to, and even too, if you think about the industry, we do talk about sometimes it being something where you may have to compromise your morals or your values. And so it's just one of those things where, like, Jews, well, we'll do it, you know. That being said, they've cornered the market, and you imagine doing something for 70 plus years. Of course you got good at it. You own every fucking thing, and it just is what it is. And so now too, you own the media, and there's constant things that come out as far as even just honest reports where these parties have been controlling the media. Things are run by the government first before it actually goes in there. So it's no longer, we've been propagandized. It's no longer safe. The calls coming from inside the house.
It's crazy that we're in a real life horror movie, because like I was asking you earlier, do you think that these crash outs are real or attention seeking? You said you hadn't seen any. I'm going to be very honest. I didn't see any on my own, but I know.
So hey, like, did your husband find these for you? Like,
no.
This is really where I got this from, because I wouldn't have.
No, actually, I follow some conservative accounts. Matt Walsh is one of my favorite conservative accounts to follow, and a lot of them said, "Hey, you guys, help me out, help a brother out. Let's see some of these crash outs." This was, I think, a good one because of what you said. People are so moved by their emotions to make decisions, and then they don't even know that the snake is about to bite them. You know, if it was a snake, it would have bit you. Like, oh yeah, y'all.
Girl, I've had people so mad. Like, what about this? What about education? Like, even too, it's like, or even it was brought to my attention. Well, you know, your daughter goes to HBCU. They're underfunded. So check this out. If the HBCUs have been underfunded since 1890 and they continue to be underfunded, then it's not really a priority. And I don't mean it's not a priority for me, but I mean it's not a priority for my party, because my party has had over 100 years to put something in place to solidify funding for this public school.
Absolutely.
Now, you're not going to tell me that now that they weren't getting it before. So, and that's the thing. And that even goes back to reproductive rights. Or, you know, these things, like, these things cannot be on the table every election cycle, because it's really a hollow talking point. If the fact that you can't seem to get this shit passed and it be permanent and solidified, if you can't codify something that ensures that every 4 years it's not up for grabs, then you're not even good at your fucking job, and you should be removed. And so there's no way in hell that you're going to hold my vote captive every 4 years and expect to get my vote because I'm afraid of what the next man is going to do.
Absolutely. And to that point, Joe Biden, on his way out the door, signs an executive order establishing the first ever White House initiative to advance equity through Hispanic serving institutions. You know, when we say we want something specific for a specific group of people, it's like they already know how to do it. They just don't want to do it for you. And then you're going to keep voting for them. This woman that's crashing out on your screen, I'll just let you, Kiara Lewis.
Knowing that I woke up, bitch, it's not about a fucking book. Fuck that shit right now. Knowing that I went to bed, that fucking man was ahead a little bit, but waking up to this man, literally, you're 4 points a fucking way. Not only shows me how racist, which, hello, wake up, you black, you're aware of that. It not only shows me how racist this country is, misogynistic. Y'all, we're at the point where I'm convinced Y'all do not want to get here. Y'all had y'all glory fucking days in the back. Y'all hate to see a Black, a Latino, anybody that's in LGBTQ plus, a woman being happy doing shit on her fucking own. Because to wake up and seeing it being that close, and I'm seeing comments where people are like, I'm in another country. I don't know how this is happening. Wake up! This is fucking America, and this is sad. And every fucking body, any person that I still follow that has voted for him, I'm not even going to say what my thoughts is, but trust I will be acting on my thoughts.
Sounds like an admission of guilt. Whatever happens.
I mean, I feel like she's being real extra. Like,
okay, so let's go there real quick, because I would hate to miscategorize someone's pain. So I'm being dead ass serious, you guys. Look, I'm looking straight at you. That's not my intent. But this woman, I don't know. That seems a little much. And just thinking of my own dealing with pain, I don't know that I've ever been in so much pain that I was like, let me turn on the camera. Ever. Like, Marie, I've never been in so much pain about something that my thought was to turn on the camera. And is that where we are? Like, people are so desensitized to reality that the only way that they feel like they're getting heard is with the likes and the views. And okay, so now 33,000 people, 33.3 thousand people liked that video when it was posted. And I wonder if she feels good, you know, or does she just feel seen or heard? You know, it's like the customer service trick. They don't really hate you. They just want to be heard. And then you do the thing, and you don't have to give them a refund. You don't have to really do much of anything, as much as they really just wanted to bitch and have somebody listen to the bitching. There's this one short video, and the lady's having a customer service fit at like a bakery or a coffee shop, and I'm not going to search for it, but just real quick, she's like, she takes the food back, and the lady's like, okay, I'll give you a refund. And the lady's like, what, there's not going to be no... She's like, oh, you wanted that? She's like, yeah, could you do that? She's like, I'm not taking this back. She's like, I'm going to call your man. I am the man. You know, this crazy, ridiculous, fake back and forth, because the lady wanted to yell at somebody. You know, it's not the fact that the problem was solved. She got her money back for the damaged goods or whatever, but she really wanted to speak her speech. This woman, Keisha, look, you crying, laughing, and listening. When I saw this, I was laughing so hard because I thought it was fake. But then my man comes in and he's like, why are you laughing at that woman? And I'm like, because this isn't real. This can't be real. And he's like, she got snot coming out her nose. And I'm like, you know what? She does have snot coming out. That's an ugly cry. Those are real tears. So now I'm thinking, has there ever been a time where the person who won the presidency made me cry? But also, Marie, damn it, I'm not a person who cried when Michael Jackson died. Like, that's not me. Maybe
I'm not crying over celebrity. I've never. I've been kind of like, the fucking, you don't even know that. You know, there's a word for that. I forgot the actual word for it. There is a word for people that are so kind of obsessed with celebrities, but it's so far removed from them too. I forgot the fucking word, but it is a real thing. Apparently it's a thing.
Okay.
But yeah,
you're saying like a mental thing, like an attachment disorder type of thing, or okay.
It's like a real word.
Okay.
But yeah, no. I could never even here's my thing. I feel like the people spoke. Do I think that there was some sexism involved? Yeah. But I also just think people are just tired of the same shit. And really, we've outside of that 4 years with Trump, which really, it was a weird 4 years. Like, that motherfucker couldn't have known a pandemic was going to hit. Like, this is a businessman. He wasn't really prepared for all that kind of shit. Like, and even too, not like, I don't think any of us were. You know what I mean? But before then, we've had
him. We wouldn't have told him. He's on the outside of of the cool kids circle, right? Like they tried to take him out a few times this year. And I think it's because he's not one of them. He is a businessman, like you said, competitively spirited against these small hats, right? So you've got the small hats who are already in control of things. And then you've got these other white people who are like, wait a minute, what's going on over here? I fit the bill. I want to be involved. I want to do these things. And I got the money. What's up? And they're like, you can't really be controlled, or you can't really be trusted. You got friends around the world that we don't really rock with.
Because you have so much money. You have all these friends in these other places. Motherfucker, fuck around, have tea with Kim Jong or something because he know him and he got that kind of bread to do that. Which would make someone like him probably the worst person to be president. There's no telling what you can do and what you'll have access to and how you'll use it once you got the connection, the relationship, the whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, America came out, voted in droves. They basically turned the whole fucking place red. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, the biggest, let's just keep it a buck. We in blue states, we see too much shit happening where it's like there needs to be some balance. You look at California, you look at somewhere like Illinois. While they're blue, there's a lot of shit fuckery going on. We're kind of, and as much as things we want to say, even when we talk about cop sitting, the militarization of police officers, this shit is actually happening under Democrats.
That part.
It's under Democrat leadership, in fact, Black Democrat leadership at that. So there's a lot of things where there's kind of, we kind of sick of it. And again, okay, so what you look like me?
Yeah, what are the policies?
What are you gonna do for me though? What you got? I'm coming out here with something.
I mean, that seems to be the consensus of the people who realize that they were in the burning building. I've heard Dr. King be quoted so many times this election season because of the integrated aspect and how, and this is on both sides of the argument, people using his argument for their side of the argument. And that's so strange to me because I don't think that this is the America that Dr. King dreamed of at all. If we're being honest. And then from there, you said maybe sexist, maybe. All I know is that America had the chance to vote for a woman president 2 times, but they were women who might have some very strange associations. And if this is what we're going to lean into, I feel like the country has said, well, we're more comfortable with it being a dude. We can't have those optics of it being a woman in charge of all of this shit, because then that would be even worse.
Well, I think that Latinos they're not the biggest fan of women being in leadership any fucking ways. And not that they're not nice, but they're misogynist. And not because it's just part of their culture. Like men, they have gender roles. Men are supposed to do this, women are supposed to, that women are not supposed to be the leader. I do think that white male fragility is real. So I'm also going to say that I think that white men are tired of they're tired of white women and them trying to do all these things and competing with them. White men are frustrated with that. They're insecure. And then you have this subgroup of Black men that are sick of the shit too. They're sick of competing with Black women for jobs. They're sick of the fact that their median income is actually higher than their median income. There's a lot of things that rub a subgroup. And I say a subgroup because there is a fucking group. They exist. They be angry. So I think some guy, I said I was going to school for something, which mind you, people that know me, I only have a high school diploma. So if I'm going to school, it's because I haven't done it. I've raised my kids. And it was like, that's all you guys do is go to school. You're married to school. Like, what the fuck did I do? And then I'm like, and my mom is white. Fuck you. like it's all Black women do. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, maybe y'all should go do that.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's
why you don't want to do it, baby? Then we wouldn't have to have this conversation.
It's just so strange to me to hear the misogyny argument when women vote in higher numbers than men do. So are women misogynistic? Is that a thing?
I think that's possible. I mean, if you think about it too, even some of our own personal views, I can honestly say that I hold on to some views that could be borderline misogynist because I've been conditioned, right? So even there's certain expectations. I think there's certain things I think that are acceptable for a man, and like, yeah, a woman probably shouldn't do that. But there's no reason really she shouldn't be able to do it because it's a morality thing, right? But in essence, I'm holding her to a different platform. She on a different pedestal than a man because I've been conditioned that way. Our culture has taught us that. That's why even too men can be promiscuous and women can. So absolutely, just like someone can have a mixed child and still be racist.
I feel you.
But I don't. But understand too. I'm not saying it's solely. It's like, so I'm not saying it's just solely men, but even too, and even honestly, white women, their power is only wielded from white men. They would be nothing. White men are the wind beneath their wings. They wouldn't even exist in these places of positions of power if it wasn't for white men. And when they feel that power slipping, they cry and they go to a white man.
Amen to that. It's going to be the illusion of inclusion. I feel you with the borderline misogynistic views because of conditioning, but if the conditioning is to provide some structure, because there is no equality, to me personally, in my opinion, that's where society in general fucked up, trying to promote this idea of equality, because I don't believe that there is equality. We are not designed to do the same things, period. And then from there, maybe what needs to happen is the appreciation, acceptance, and maybe attention given to the differences, but then you'll have people, I don't want to do that. That's not my role. That's not my purpose. I don't.
Here's a good example, though, of that even failing. One thing, I recently watched the Martha Stewart documentary, which she had like a huge hand in like doing. So it's not, no one's telling her story without her being involved. And really, Martha Stewart became famous just being a homemaker. But then that pissed men off too.
Of course. But
I even recently found out that it wasn't even so much that they felt like she was doing insider trading. They just felt like they lied to her. She lied to the feds. So she actually wasn't going to court for the insider trading. She was going to court because the feds wanted to prove that she lied to them. This is a man with a heart on. So I do think that sexism is a real thing. Do I think that was the main reason? I think a lot. I mean, you think about it, even they didn't even want to give a white woman the presidency. So you really think they want to give a black one? They're like, yeah, she might even be harsh or something. Look how she was talking to them that one day. But I do think that there are people that may feel more comfortable under a man. But I also feel like people are just tired of the Biden package. They didn't like it. You packaged it up. Don't like what you're bringing. She even think about it. Remember, she couldn't articulate herself. She couldn't even say like what she was standing on that was different. And even the things that she did choose, she switched sides. Even her immigration thing, she kind of took a harder stance on immigration. I mean, she invited police officers to speak at her convention. She leaned on the fracking thing. She's been like shifting. It's almost like going back to, you said she's a chameleon. So too, I can't really trust you because girl, every week could be something different. I don't even know if you a Democrat or not. It's really giving mega blue, bitch. What you mean you got the police up here?
That's crazy because people say the bipartisan argument is why she did that. But I don't know.
But truth be told, she did it. Some of the stuff she was siding with, or even how the immigration stuff, a lot of that shit was actually Republican talking points. She was spewing a lot of Republican talking points. And what I think that video I sent you, where people said, if they had a choice between a Republican or a fake Democrat that's like really Republican, they're gonna go for the real thing. But I have other friends, we call it the mega blue. They're the mega blues. And so there's something I want to point out too, like under Trump's administration, people were protesting Black Lives Matters. People were protesting because they were saying, hey, stop killing Black people on the street. Hey, can you just arrest them? Can they live to make it to their court date? Hey, stop. And they were getting their asses whooped. And then this last year under Biden and Kamala, or Biden Harris administration, people were saying, hey, let's stop murdering, blowing up Palestinians. Let's not shoot Palestinian children in the fucking head. hey, let's not set them on fire. Let's not burn them alive. And they were getting beat the fuck up too. So how are you offering me something different and I'm not even safe to exercise my fucking liberties that are actually my constitutional right? Hey, like, no. I guess if I'm gonna get my ass whooped, at least it'd be somebody I want to fight. At least, I don't know.
That's real. That's real. The flip floppy ways is that might be a nail in so many nails in this coffin.
Would you call the border secure?
The border is secure.
You're confident this border is secure?
We have a secure border. As your president, I will secure our border.
Would you call the border secure?
The border is secure.
You're confident this border is secure?
We have.
I never noticed that she has them same pearl earrings on 2 years later. That might be the Bluetooth that she's been using to get.
I told you. I think it. So my mother-in-law was kind of annoyed when I said it, but I was like, I don't know. I've never seen her articulate herself so well until that night. So a part of me does think that there may be an opportunity that, Trump isn't lying. She usually is she can't pull her words together, and she was so very clear and concise.
Absolutely. That the teleprompter breaking night where she repeated 32, 32, 32. You guys, I'm not the best public speaker. I don't think I'm great. I think that I can speak, in public, and I get nervous. I get nervous before we go live. What I'll not do is start talking about shit that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And then I'll also not lie about it, right? I think it is very responsible to be the adult in the room that says, I don't know, but I can find out. I think maybe, I don't know if this was a millennials show or a deep brief, but to be brief, we have a lot of unlearning to do. And if you were surprised about the election results, you definitely need to start from square one, because I don't know, I feel like we've been calling it for months and she's only been running for months. So there's that. And then another thing.
And people were even saying she worked so hard, like she was there for a couple months. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, y'all just be saying, like, here's my problem too. Black folks be standing by anything when they think it's when they think it's another black person, whatever. Like, I'm sick of our shit. Well, or they don't want to see a black one. Like, this is not because she's black. She fucking sucks. She sucks. She didn't work that damn hard. It's actually handed to her.
That part.
It's not that they don't want to see her. Well, you see, they actually treated her like a black woman. Cut the bullshit.
Yeah.
This woman stood by genocide, promised unwavering fucking support. Matter of fact, her and Trump really were like at a competition of who could do more for Israel when they were in office. Yep. She got the police up there. Liberals aren't even supposed to be pro-police. What the fuck is that? You got the police up there. You X out a total demographic of people, Arabs and Muslims. They were not even welcome at her convention.
They said you didn't pass that brown paper bag.
Islamophobia, xenophobia. Then you're like, and to me, I'm not anti-immigration. So to me, bitch, what you waste my money to build a wall for? Let me tell you, do you know how fucking resourceful and what good builders Mexicans are? I lived in Texas 20 years. They're going to find a fucking way. I promise you. They're going to get the Chinese people that are immigrating to America through the fucking hole. I promise you. You can build that wall all you want. And truth be told, Trump ain't really built shit neither. So for me, like, nobody built the wall. Yeah. But fucking Obama's wall was a little built. Trump shit wasn't even. Matter of fact, Trump was standing by Obama's wall. Like no one's been successful with building the wall. That's not even what I want you to do with my tax dollars. I'm not. The immigrants ain't bothering me.
And they not coming
taking my
over
job
like that. I'm sorry. The way we've seen these tunnels, y'all, no, the wall is a pump fake. And you know,
it's just again, it's kind of no different than what we have learned about even COVID and the mask. You wear the mask if you have COVID. It keeps the COVID in. So if you wearing a mask and you don't have COVID, that may not prevent you from getting COVID. But again, it's this perceived safety. Well, I feel safe. First of all, who the fuck is finna go work in these farms?
Not for
Who's
the pay they
working for
offer.
your low ass fucking wage that you want to pay these people.
That part.
It's nobody but the fucking immigrants. Like, so I don't know, like, there was this one city in Springfield, she was talking about just in general how even the Haitians buying the properties, fixing them up has actually increased their overall real estate value, and it's never been as much as it currently is right now. You mean people are coming and working the jobs that you don't want to work? That's fucking wild. They were picking the fruit for you. They were building the fucking thing. I've never seen somebody build some shit so quickly.
That's what I'm saying. I will give it to you and to that argument that the people who come over here and work these jobs for less than they do work.
They be working at the places like they own the place. Like I ain't never seen somebody make sure they measured the shit out right. Follow. Like I think I asked for an extra pump. She went back charging for. Girl, just give me the goddamn pump. But not just wanting to follow. Again, keep my head down. Do everything right. I don't want to cause any problems. I don't want to do anything to draw attention to myself. I'm just going to do my job, do all these jobs. I might even let you treat me like shit because you feel like you can, but I'm going to take it. Man, say.
But that's the whole argument, though.
They that person for that company because they want to do a good job. They're so happy. Like, even when I was in Mexico and I would like overpay for things, they were so happy because at the same time, our dollar goes a long fucking way. So while, to me, I'm like, that's all you want. Like, so it's so much and so much. And to be able to send that money home to their family. And the thing is too, a lot of them, there'll be a bunch of them all in one house.
Mm-hmm. It's the work ethic for me. I'm always gonna feel like if you are such a hard worker, maybe you wouldn't leave, maybe you would stay and fight. But I get it. Everybody's got different ways for how they deal with oppression. I just gonna have to excuse me for thinking that, if you're late to the party, that the entitlement that comes with people who just got here, what you said, the grateful illegal, I've seen those. I've also seen the entitled ones, the ones who, they're very upset that their McDonald's job is not paying $20 an hour, or the people who were rioting for Uber to pay more and, they just got their license yesterday type shit.
But listen, I don't know, have you ever driven for Lyft or anything?
No, hell no.
Oh, so I did it once. So mind you, I had a salary job. I was probably making $52,000 a year. I was struggling as an American. And I thought I was going to drive Lyft to make some extra money, which I'll be honestly, when you're a salary employee and you already work over 40 hours, that's not ideal anyway. So I'm going to say in hindsight, like, why would you want to? So I gave 2 rides. One was to a stripper. And then the other who decided she was going to sit in the front with me. Like we were friends. And the other was to an African woman who was very bossy and short. And the road I had to go on was it's like one way on each side. There's a highway. And so she was getting mad at me because I was going the wrong way, but I was going the wrong way because I had to U-turn to get on the other way. And she was just very fucking rude. I will say giving the stripper the ride, driving back was a total of like maybe 30, 45 minutes. Then giving the other woman a ride is maybe 20 minutes, 25 tops. So we're looking at an hour. You know how much I made?
What? $10, $20?
$14.
$14. $14 whole. Yeah, no, that's not worth the wear and tear.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Uh-uh.
And so I'm gonna tell you, do you know that the 14, I was so pissed off about the 14 that, and mind you, that was with the tip or whatever. If I got, that I actually didn't cash it out for 2 years. Like it wasn't until we were in the pandemic, and I think I was gonna I think either I was calling a Lyft or something, and then I remember I had the driver account. And I seen that $14, and then I was like, let me get that 14, because that's how minuscule it was. Like I was doing bad, but I still wasn't doing bad. Where $14 felt like a lot of money,
right?
Because I think at the end of the day, so right, even if we say that, like that person, they still have to live in our housing price. So they still, because that's the problem too, is that wages haven't kept up with the cost of living. Correct. So either way, that immigrant, they rent is still the same. Like them being an immigrant don't change the fact that they rent is still higher than a bitch. So naturally, of course, they're like, yeah, I would like to be paid more. Also, you see people are rude as fuck to fast food workers because they're fast food workers too.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You sit there like, damn, bitch, just because I flip burgers don't mean I'm not human.
That's true. It's true. It's not about I don't ever want to preach indecency, but just the work ethic for me seems like it could go a long way if people stayed put, and put a little bit of that elbow grease into the struggle that they flee from. But I don't want to veer off into another topic because we could go on immigration the whole time. Both sides like it. The Democrats let them in, and they voted Republicans.
Yeah, both sides like it too, because who the fuck? Remember when Florida pulled that shit?
Right. But then they go and hire them all over again.
They found out you do need these workers. You need these motherfucking Cubans and these Mexicans that came up. You need them. Now I don't know about Chicago and Venezuela people right now, and y'all got some gangbangers. It happens though. Like everyone can't be a stand-up citizen. So understand too. Everybody got a gang. There's white gangs. There's black gangs. You didn't think there was a Venezuelan gang? Like that's crazy. Like it's crazy that you didn't think that was possible, but it is. Like it just happened. You know what I mean? It happens. You can't, but that doesn't mean it's all of them.
Right.
That's something to think about too. Like, well, shit, I seen a lot of white criminals the other day too. I mean, am I like, oh, you whites that are here because you came over here too? Believe me, I'm sure they didn't. When Europe sent us they didn't send us their finest.
Oh no, no, that's definitely. we will have that conversation in the upcoming shows for sure.
Damn near one step from being a penal colony, and even too going back to these other countries. You were a fucking penal colony, like you were fucking prisoners. There were some fucking prostitutes delivered to you to marry, like. Cut the shit. You're not this girl. You're not. Oh, I'm so much better than these primitive people. You're a fucking whore, and you're a mass murderer or whatever you are. Okay, you're not any better.
Yep.
But overall,
that's the argument, though. The average American is not a criminal, or is a criminal. If those are the only sides that we've got. To support the criminal or the liar or the criminal or the whore. It just depends on how you look at it. I think that the next 4 years are going to be very interesting, especially with all of the people saying that democracy is over because we're never going to have another election. And I think maybe just comprehension was a little low a couple months ago, but America turned the page back. We dialed it back. If Trump had his way, we'd go back to the 1700s, right?
I mean, would it be the 1700s? I don't know. I mean, I really think these guys want to get to the moon, so I don't necessarily think it's going to be the 1700s. I think here's the thing: people do feel that women are out of control to some degree,
aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Ever since they gave us bicycles. It's got real wild. Yes, we got to go places. We can see things. We have our own money. It's part of me. Sometimes I wonder if the conspiracy too is that that's where inflation comes in. Is because now even though I make a substantial salary, it's still not really enough, right? So then I still end up needing a man, even though I don't want to need one. I feel like it's like a setup. But I say that to say that even when we talk about inflation, I think we also have to focus on corporate greed. We have to look at so even when you mentioned the Uber thing or even McDonald's, how much fucking money are they making? I think that we forget that these corporations are making billions. Even when they were being bailed out,
Yes.
They, instead of doing, and I don't like, the thing is too, there wasn't enough stipulations on the money they were given.
Mm-hmm.
And then they was like giving themselves bonuses and stuff like that. And that's problematic, right? But we see that that's a reoccurring thing. And as much as Republicans and even some Democrats are against socialism, for some reason, socialism is always acceptable when it's a corporate greed, when it's a company taking money, whether even when we're looking at the COVID subsidies or the PPP loans, when it was big corporations, hell, all these people getting all this free money from the government.
Right. But the corporations are not going to jail.
So it's like you can't pick and choose when you believe, well, it's socialism. It wasn't socialism when you caught that check. When they gave you billions of dollars or millions of dollars, was it so? Because the funny part though is we believe in socialism when it comes to corporatism. But when it comes to American people that probably actually pay the vast majority of the taxes that are going in, that's when, so like, wait a minute, now you got to pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Right. You got to pull yourself like, hey, maybe this is the life you were supposed to have. Don't worry. When you leave this earth, it's going to be something greater in the kingdom. But yeah, I know you see us enjoying all this nice shit. That's not for you. That's not for you. Go away. In fact, can you go fetch my mail? Go fetch my keys. Go work on my lawn or something, but please don't close your eyes. This is only for us. This is for the 5%. The rest of you, I don't know what to tell you, but keep paying taxes so the next time I fuck up and make a poor business decision, I have money to pull from.
Hey, that's the American way to use their money. When we can get competitive and use other people's money, you'll see things change. You guys. Y'all know we like talking politics, geopolitics, things that happen in the world. This week specifically, y'all knew we had to touch on the election. Next week, who knows? Maybe we'll have baking tips, and we'll do some sort of cooking video because we're women with children, right? And we belong in the kitchen. Maybe, or maybe not. If you guys have ideas of things you would like us to talk about, we would be interested to see where your thoughts are. The comments are always going to be available. The live chat's there. Thank you, Keisha, for joining us in the chat tonight. Until next time, you guys, be safe out here in these streets. And yeah, don't hurt them.
But don't worry, nothing's going to happen. You're not going to die.
You're not going
to survive. There's no, what is it? There was something going around saying that, slavery's back and report to, that's not a real thing. And I really challenge a white person to even I wish a motherfucker would.
Yeah. Like too many people wishing a motherfucker would at this point.
And the likelihood of me where the places I go, that's not going to happen. However, I can't, and matter of fact, the funny part is I didn't find that shit funny. It's very distasteful. And don't forget, you poor whites never had slaves. So please don't, make the assumption or,
that part, don't overextend.
But they are looking for indentured servants too. So
you qualify. You got the complexion, inclusion.